Good day, my name is Scott Kinney with Discovery Education, and this is our One Idea series. Today, live from, I'm in London. I am joined virtually by Dr. Maureen McMahon with Arundel County Schools. She's the Deputy Superintendent there. Dr. McMahon's had a number of roles. She's been at Arundel about 7 or 8 years in a few different positions, but started her career there teaching chemistry. Finished up her doctoral work and moved to the West Coast, where you had some higher ed experience as well. Among other things, you were department chair for science at Cal State and have moved back. I think, as you said it, your passion has always been in K-12, came back to Arundel now as the deputy superintendent. So thanks so much for joining today.
Thank you very much, Scott.
So, Dr. McMahon, one of the things that we were talking about a little bit was this idea of community engagement. And, 20 years ago when I was in a school system in Pennsylvania, oftentimes we thought of community as our teachers and our students, maybe our administrators, during strategic planning, maybe our parents, but we didn't think holistically about community. So could you start by talking a little bit about who you consider a community and why is it so important to engage them in the educational process in Arundel?
So we've thought long and hard about this over the years, and we're very interested in including, traditionally people talk about community, they also include the parents, and certainly the parents are great stakeholders of ours. But beyond the parents, these parents live lives and they're part of the workforce, and their business and industry, the structures that they work for, the organizations that they work for, are major stakeholders. Now, this started in Anne Arundel when the STEM movement came on nationally, right? And we were leading the efforts here in Maryland with getting deeper and deeper into the notion of building the workforce pipeline of the STEM folks for the future, right? But it became more than that. What we started to realize is business and industry partners, community organizations, for-profit and not-for-profit, they really did want to do much more than, pay for a field truck bus or cut out things for the bulletin board. They wanted to get involved in the schools. And so little by little, we began asking them to become more involved in, where could we take the curriculum? If we talk to the people who are on the cutting edge of whether it's aerospace or whether it's cybersecurity here in the Baltimore, Washington area, where could the curriculum go and where could we take children and young people if we talk to the experts in those fields? And so little by little, we began those conversations, and that changed the whole dialogue, and it changed the way we see schools now, and have now focused on much more of a co-ownership with our industry partners.
So you talk about little by little. Let's a little bit more specific. What does that look like? How do you begin those conversations and that outreach?
So in the early days, we put together what many schools would call business advisory boards or maybe industry boards. And we did that as well. And we morphed them over time into advisory and steering committees for structures that we put in place in the school. I'll give you an example. At the high school level, we built workforce-oriented thematic programs called signature programs. And we built them with the community. Over a period of 2 years, we would talk to the community members. We would have large forums. And the community and the schools together built these. And so they range from anything from homeland security at our school that sits on Fort Meade, an Army base here in our county, to environmental literacy, to international travel, trade, and tourism. And the way this works is the community organizers and the industry professionals join together, and they help us think of the theme, but then they help us write overlays into whether it's science or math or social studies or English curriculum, so that students begin to understand what's happening in the workplace in these areas. But they understand that from a real world perspective, authentic learning, because the folks building live this every day.
Was there any resistance at first? I mean, the curriculum is kind of sacred ground to some folks, certainly, and critical to what we do as educators. Was there any resistance to having folks come in from the outside and kind of looking at that, or was that, talk a little bit about the different stakeholder groups internally and how they reacted?
Well, people shook their head a little bit and raised their brow a bit because it's not the norm. But what they realized very quickly was the products coming out of what the industry and organizations could provide. There were stories to be told and career pathways uncovered that simply, that's not where teachers live. Teachers don't walk that walk. They went to school to become teachers, and they teach very, very well, but they can't tell the stories of careers they've never had, and they can't uncover opportunities for things they don't know about. And so very quickly, the value added became clear. And so, took a little while, but not that long.
Has the relationship then extended past curriculum? I could only envision that now we have students who are excited to maybe intern in local businesses or whatever it might be.
Right, and so interning becomes something that's very near and dear to our hearts. And so some of the students buy in with just putting their toes in the water, and so they just experience these themes in what I'll call normal ways. They fall over the themes because they're in their curriculum. And then other students decide to involve themselves in co-curricular clubs. So, interestingly enough, in the environmental literacy signature school, there are a lot of co-curricular clubs that have things to do with environment, but not just environment linked to informatics, and environment linked to legal issues, right? But then some students say, they're the volunteers, pick me, and they go all the way to having internships before they leave. And so as a school system, we have a goal in the next 5 years to have 100% of our seniors leave. And that's 5,000 seniors leaving the school system with internships.
Wow.
We're at 25 to 30% right now.
That's great.
So we'll get there.
So, Dr. McMahon, why wouldn't a school system undertake this? I mean, what's the downside to engaging with your community members?
I don't think there's any downside. I have to be honest with you, Scott, there's no downside, but it is scary. For a traditionalist, it can be scary because the conversations really get quite wild because industry thinks fast and furious because they move at a pace a little faster than education moves. And so you have to be willing to participate at a different pace and at a different level when you're playing with them initially. What they don't want to do is they don't want to take over the schools. They have no need to do that, and they're not interested. They want to give back. They want to help us help our young people. And once you get to that level of trust and respect with them, it's a win-win.
So my last question for you. I'm a suburban superintendent in the middle of Ohio, made that up. How do I get started? How do I begin this outreach process?
Interestingly enough, most towns, even small towns, have chambers of commerce where they have Rotaries or Kiwanis clubs or something like that, some kind of organizational structure. That's where we actually started, even in the large area that we're in. And we met the leaders, the informal and formal leaders of communities. And they became our initial networkers, and one step at a time, they would introduce us to the next person and the next person. So we have our go-to people now, but some of those go-to people are the people that we met 7 years ago when we started this venture.
That's great. This is our One Idea series with Dr. Maureen McMahon. Dr. McMahon, thank you so much. If I want to learn more about Anne Arundel County, how do I find out more information?
So we can visit our webpage at www.aacps.org. And certainly give me a call. I can be found right on that webpage. I'd be happy to email or phone you back.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you very much, Scott.
Take care.
Bye.